Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I must apologise for the lack of videos lately. The release of the Digital Delusion, my latest No Emis album, took a little bit of time just to get sorted out and straight, and I was doing a lot of work on the No Emis channel. But that's all done now, that's all released. I'll put a link below if you're interested in streaming the music. It's on all the major streaming platforms and on Bandcamp as well. What I thought I'd look at today is an interesting little app called a Fugue Machine, and it's been out for a few years now. And it's one of those apps which is really useful for generating ideas. You know, you might not have anything particular in mind, but this is almost like a bit of a sketch pad to have a play around, and you might get an idea you can work with. You might come out with something that you really didn't expect. I've done both, and it's featured on a couple of tracks that I've released in the past. So I thought I'd open it up and have a quick talk through what goes on and really how unique it is. And then we'll look at how I used it in one of the tracks on the Digital Delusion. So as of October 2021 in the UK, it's £14.99. So it's sort of a medium priced app. Obviously, there's lots of apps which are cheap. There's a few apps which are quite expensive. But as we've always said, apps are not Pokemon. You don't have to have them all. And a lot of it is just trying to find something which helps either get you to create something new or just to give you some ideas of how to create something and go from there. So we'll come out of the App Store and we will go into Fugue Machine itself. And it looks quite odd initially in terms of what is actually on the screen and what's going on. Essentially, it's a MIDI generator, but rather than just generating one lot of MIDI, it generates up to 4 lots. You basically have 4 playheads. So you've got a blue playhead, a red one, an orange one, and a yellow one. And what happens is that you create a set of MIDI notes which all 4 playheads can play, but they don't have to be identical. They can play at different speeds, they can play at different octaves, you can switch the pitch around a little bit, and by combining all of this, you don't have to use all 4 of course, you can get some interesting effects. So this is one of the standard presets within Fugue Machine when you buy it. And if I just turn on that's the first playhead. I think this is called a Bach variation. I mean, fugue is something which is very much related to Bach. What we can see now is the yellow playhead is actually playing backwards, and then it bounces back again. So there's no sort of restriction in terms of whether the playhead's going forwards or backwards. Let's add a few more playheads in. So it's all very clever because we've essentially created one lot of MIDI data, but the 4 playheads are interpreting it in different ways. So if we look at the blue one, we can see that it's playing forwards, it's playing at 1 time speed, it's starting at the beginning, it's in the octave which the notes have been drawn in on. We'll have a quick look at how to draw notes in a minute. And there's no pitch adjustment. If we move on to the second playhead, the red one, again, it's going forward, but it's going at quarter speed. So for the time it takes to get across the screen, the blue one will have gone through 4 times. It's again starting at the beginning, but it's 2 octaves down. So that's where our bass is. If we move on to the orange, then now this is going in reverse. So it's going to go from right to left on this one at just 1 time speed. So it's going at the same speed as the blue one, but in the opposite direction. And it's doing it in, not only is it an octave up, but it's also 4 semitones up. So we start to get a little bit of harmony going on. If we move on to the fourth one, sorry, the yellow one, that's showing that it's bouncing backwards and forwards, and it's going at normal 1x speed, an octave up, and the pitch is as in the MIDI data. So if we look at the style, we've already seen we've got bouncing backwards and forwards and going forwards and going backwards. We've also got forward and back here, but it's in the opposite direction. So it's starting at the end, starting at the right rather, going to the left, then back again. So it's sort of the inverse of the starting at the left and then coming back. So let's have a quick fiddle with this. If we say change the tempo, and you just basically you click on it and drag up and down, so that's going at 8x the speed. If we just set this going now, and that might be what you want. I don't think that's as good as the original that came with it, but you know, that's the thing. And as I say, there's plenty of different patterns to start to get you thinking about in here. So if let's go into Yuri's melody, and we can see we've got 1, 2, 3 playheads armed. The orange one isn't doing anything in this case, and the MIDI data is much less complicated. So we've got the yellow going in right to left, we've got the red going left to right, we've got the blue going left to right. The blue is 5 semitones up, but at a quarter speed. The red is at an 8th speed, so it's going really slow, and it's 2 octaves down, so that's going to be our bass. And the yellow is starting midway through and is an octave up. So if we get this playing, so you can see from not very many MIDI notes in the piano roll itself that you can get some quite complicated things. And this is why this is a really interesting ideas generator. You can just pop some ideas in and see what comes of it. It might be that your choice of notes doesn't work, but there's no great shakes, so you can change it up and change it out, because it literally is a case of clicking notes in, clicking notes out. You can have held notes, and it's designed so you can actually play multiple notes simultaneously. So we'll have a few down here, and yeah, there we go. Let's take a few other ones out. Let's see what that sounds like. So we've immediately changed it. We can transpose it up and down using this little slider on the right hand side. So if we take it up to there, let's see what that's like. And that's affecting all the playheads simultaneously. Now, where this becomes really a strong contender for creating something really interesting and unique is within the settings, because you can actually output each of the 4 playheads to other synthesizers, and that's all in the settings. So you can send all the playheads to one channel, or you can send each of the 4 playheads into 4 different places. Now, the easiest way to see this is actually to go into AUM and ignore what's going on over here. Let's go straight into Fugue Machine. That's just sat here now. So what we've got here is a very straightforward set of notes. They're all the same length, and to be honest, when I was putting it together, I was just placing them, seeing what the melody sounded like, and then tweak them around. We've got all 4 playheads happening here. So if we start with the blue one, we can see that's going forward at normal speed in the middle octave, no pitch adjustment. We've got the red, which is the bass. You don't need to make the red the bass. It's just the way I've done this one. But again, it's going forward, but it's going really slowly. It's at an eighth the speed, and it's an octave down. The orange is a quarter speed, and it's 2 octaves up and 4 semitones up, and it's going backwards. And then the yellow is going backwards then forwards at double speed, and again it's an octave up and it's pitched up. But if we come out of this and then go into AUM, we've actually got a number of synthesizers sat there listening, and what we can do is get them within AUM to listen out for each of the playheads. So this BS16i is connected to playhead 1. The Synthmaster 2 is on playhead 2. DRC is on playhead 3. And OBXD rather, is on playhead 4. So we've now got Fugue Machine producing all the MIDI, and it's going to drive 4 completely different synthesizers. Right, so yeah, Fugue Machine's AV3 and all the synths are AV3s. I've also got a hammerhead on here, just making some rhythm, and that's my microphone on the right hand side. I'm just shoving everything into one mix box just so I can control the levels. So what have we got here? We've got our 4 playheads playing 4 different synthesizers, and this is what we come out with. There's a little bit of effects on there, but the synths are basically all set up doing their own thing. But you can see that from what is basically a very simple bit of MIDI data, you can develop something quite complicated. Now, within Red Lines, that was the base sort of sound, and then I actually built on top of that and expanded it a lot more and made it into a complete track. So it's one of these synths, or one of these processors, which I don't use very often. I think I've used it on 2 tracks that I've released, but it's quite a nice, easy way just to put something together and then just see what's generated as a consequence, because that itself can then be the spark to build it into a track. But I thought that might be of some sort of interest, because I've not done a tutorial for a little while. Obviously, if you've got any questions or comments, leave them down below and I'll try and get back to you. As always, if you've enjoyed the video, please hit that like button because it does help the channel. And if you're not already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and that little bell notification thing so YouTube tells you when I've uploaded something. And until next time, thanks for watching. Bye for now.